My brother-in-law, Sammy, lost his home shortly after his divorce 10 months ago. He moved in with us and brought his twin daughters, Olivia and Sloane 18, with him a couple of months ago. His sister, my wife, and I have one daughter, Zoe 16, and she and her cousins aren't close but get along fine. Olivia and Sloane have no respect for Zoe's privacy, none. They used to walk into her room and take everything they get their hands on. Makeup, phone accessories, clothes, school laptop, etc. Zoe complained a lot and I've already asked the girls to respect Zoe's privacy and stop taking things. My wife and Sammy saw no issue with this. After all, they're girls and this typical teenage girl's behavior. I completely disagreed. Last straw was when Zoe bought a $60 MAC makeup kit that looks like a paint set that she saved up for over a month, and one of the girls, Sloane, took it without permission and ruined it by mixing shades together while using it. Don't know much about makeup, but that's what Zoe said when she found the kit on her bed and was crying. I told my wife and she said she'd ask Sloane to apologize, but I got Zoe a lock after I found she was moving valuable belongings out the house because of this incident. Sammy and his daughters saw the lock and weren't happy. The girls were extremely upset. Sammy asked about it and I straight up told him. He said my daughters aren't thieves. It's normal that girls of the same age borrow each other's stuff. He said Zoe could easily get another makeup kit for $15 from Walmart and shouldn't even be buying expensive adult makeup in the first place, and suggested my wife take care of this defect in Zoe's personality, trying to appear older than she is. He accused me of being overprotective and babying Zoe with this level of enablement. I told him this between me and my wife, but she shamed me for putting a lock on Zoe's door for her cousins to see and preventing them from spending time with her, saying I was supposed to treat them like daughters, then demanded I remove it, but I said this lock does not get removed till her brother and his daughters are out of our house. She got mad I was implying we kicked them out and said her family'll hate me for this. So I reminded her that I let Sammy and his family move, in which something her own family refused to do, so she should start with shaming/blaming them for not taking their own son and nieces/granddaughters in. If it wasn't for her family's unwillingness to help, we wouldn't be dealing with this much disturbance at home. Everyone's been giving me and Zoe silent treatment, and my wife is very much upset over this. This encounter happened about 7 months ago. I do not want to insult your intelligence, because you most likely already know what EM and me stands for, but I should say that EK in this story stands for embarrassed kid and OG stands for old gentleman, 60-some-year-old guy. The kid was very polite and sorry, so this story isn't about him. Also, I'm translating this into English, so bear with me. A little backstory: about a year ago, I was diagnosed with a cancer of the nasal cavity, stage 2. The tumor was quite large, but thankfully benign. People have pointed out I formulated this wrong. By benign, I wanted to shorten the fact it still did not spread into other tissue, thus it was still contained, which is what I thought the word meant. I apologize for my gaps in knowledge. To get it removed, I first had to undergo aggressive chemotherapy to make it smaller. Thanks to the chemo, I had severe alopecia, hair loss, which made most of my hair and even eyebrows and eyelashes fall out. At some point I had to go bald, but I wore a wig, because I didn't want to look like a skinhead/neo-Nazi. I'm 6 feet 4 inches and pretty muscular, so I thought people would assume. So once, after a long chemo session in the hospital, I took the bus home. There's only one bus that goes from the hospital to where I live, so I took that one only to see it was absolutely packed. I felt like shit thanks to the chemo, so I asked a middle-aged dude to let me sit. He was very understanding and gave me his spot without complaining. If you're reading this, thanks bro. 2 stops later, enter EM, a lovely whale with an eye demand a parley with the CEO haircut and a 12-some-year-old kid. It took her roughly 5 seconds to see the bus was packed, start looking for a free seat, spot me and start marching, or, in her case, trying to fit in the aisle between the seats while shoving others aside, to me. When I saw her, I knew I was screwed. She then stood next to me and decided to talk to me. This is the conversation that followed. EM, hey, could you let my kid sit down? Me, you mean me? EM, who else? Me, oh, I'm sorry, but I'm on my way from the hospital and... EM, cutting me off, so are we. Nonsense, the stop was a few kilometers away from the hospital. My boy just broke his leg and we're coming straight from the ER. Her kid was standing next to her, without any support, clearly embarrassed. Me, he's standing next to you completely fine. EM, look here, boy, I am 21-year-old nun, my kid deserves to sit down. Me, look madam, I'm sorry, but I just got back from a chemo session in the hospital and I need to sit down and rest. I then moved my wig a bit to let her see my bald head. EM then straight up started yelling in my face. M, stop making excuses and get off the F and hashtag at INGCUF at dollar and ING skinhead piece of S ***T. At this point, I was baffled. I didn't know what to say. The kid was trying to make his mother stop and we had the attention of the whole bus. She then grabbed me and tried to yank me from my seat. I held on tight and thankfully didn't fall off. Now, enter OG, my savior. OG, will you shut the F and hashtag K up you dumb cow? Who do you think you're talking to? OG, with ice-cold voice, stop assaulting other passengers or I will be forced to step in. Also, every dumb moron could see that the dude has cancer. No, he's just AF and at hashtag ING skinhead. OG, he's got NO eyebrows UTWAT. Seems like that really offended because she spun around on the spot and threw a falcon punch in OG's face. I was shocked and in disbelief, the whole bus was flabbergasted and the kid probably wished he'd never been born. OG then said something unbelievable and a golden, sweet karma moment followed. OG, okay, that does it. Harassing passengers on the bus, physical assault against a passenger and now assaulting an officer. You're in deep trouble, lady. OG then pulled out a badge and told her to stay where she was. Then he pulled out his phone, called someone and told her she was being arrested. I couldn't believe it, OG was a bloody cop. At this point, was as white as a wall. The bus had just come to a stop, so she decided she'd make a run for it, but other passengers blocked her way. She then also got charged with resisting arrest thanks to this. 3 stops later, a police car was waiting for the and EK. EK told me he was sorry for his mother's behavior and I felt really sorry for the kid. He wasn't a bad child, but his mother was a hellspawn. OG then talked to me and asked me if I wanted to press charges, to which I gladly said yes, took a statement, and thankfully was kind enough to let me solve everything on the phone, so I didn't have to come to the police station for questioning. In the end, got some jail time, I think it was a few months, and some community service. I, in return, got a good story to tell and the sweet taste of instant karma. Right now, I'm riding the same bus home, as I just got back home from the hospital after a checkup, which reminded me of this. A friend, who's sitting next to me, told me I should post it here. He, as much as myself, also couldn't believe that such people exist, but it seems I proved it to him. I should also note that the surgery went well. I was declared cancer-free in November and my hair is slowly returning. Also, I don't need to wear a wig anymore. Edit 1, spelling errors. Edit 2, thank you, kind stranger, for my first ever silver. Edit 3, holy, thanks a million for the gold. Never had one before, now I'll need to learn what it does. Edit 4, platinum. I can't even, my fellow Redditor, you are a legend and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'd also like to thank everybody for their positive comments. You guys made my day and I'm sorry that I cannot respond to all of them. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. It was a cold winter day. 8 inches of snow had fallen the night before, and the wind chill made it feel as if it were in the negatives, Fahrenheit. I drive an all-wheel drive SUV, so I have no issues getting out. My wife, on the other hand, drives a Prius, which slides with the smallest amount of moisture on the road. My car was down at the time, so we had to take my wife's car. I spent 45 minutes in the freezing cold shoveling that car out so we could get to the store. We were gone for an hour, and when we came back, our neighbor had taken the spot I had shoveled. Our apartment complex doesn't have assigned parking, but in the winter, it's understood that if you shovel a spot, it's yours. So when I saw his car in the spot I had just shoveled, I was pretty pissed. I went inside and filled 2-gallon jugs of water. Went back out and poured them on his windshield. Rinse and repeat. I must have poured about 10 gallons of water on his car. Being how cold it was already freezing by the time I poured the last gallon on. It sat like that overnight. The next morning, I got to watch as he helplessly tried to scrape all of these layers of ice off his windshield. Don't take my goddamn parking spot. Edit, you guys need to chill. This isn't /am I the asshole. I'm not looking for judgment because I already know I'm an asshole. The point of this sub is to tell stories of petty revenge. I'd say I was being pretty damn petty. Edit 2, sorry, I find it so funny people telling me I committed vandalism. No damage was done except for wasting like 5 to 10 minutes of his time. Ever hear of freezing rain? It does the same thing I did to his car. Never does any damage. This was also many years ago, and the cops haven't come to arrest me yet. I think I'm good. My mom and dad divorced when I was young. My brother loved the fact that our mom had no rules for him, so he went with her. I abided by the custody agreement because I had no choice in the matter. My mom loves us both, but she dotes on my brother like he farts perfume. My dad kept the house. He had to buy my mom out. It was an old house built in 1953. It had old wiring and was really less than suitable for modern life. What it did have though was a huge yard that was great growing up. My dad passed away during COVID. He left everything equally between my brother and I. I wanted the house. I told my brother that we should tear it down and put in infill housing like that neighborhood is zoned for. He just wanted money. I bought out his half of the house at the market value. It was sold as a teardown. He took the money and bought a car and went on a vacation. He still has money left. Then I had the house demolished and built a fourplex. Each unit has 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, a small yard, and a garage. I kept one unit for myself and rent each of the other units for $2,000 a month. My mortgage is $1,800 a month for the entire thing. So basically I live free and bank $4,000 a month. My brother is pissed that I didn't give him a unit to live in for him since it was his home too. I actually offered to sell him one at cost and he said no. I'm lost. I offered him a partnership, I paid a fair price, I offered to sell him a unit, I did everything to try and be fair. He thinks I tricked him because I get free money every month. Our mom said she would be cutting me out of her will and giving everything to him if I didn't give him a unit or the income from one. I agreed that was fair and said that I would no longer feel the need to contribute to her upkeep or retirement when the time came. I am being bombarded by the two of them, but I took the risks. I took on the debt. This is my money.